Hello fellow game developers, I hope you're doing well. Today we will be adding another type of floor into this game, an indoor floor type. That's going to be interesting. Let's go! Just a quick reminder, all of the code I cover in my videos can be found on GitHub. Each episode will have its own branch. There's also a Discord server for this channel. Come in and say hello. If you wish to go the extra mile to support my work, you can do that on my Buy My Coffee page or becoming a member here on YouTube. Links can be found in the description below. Taking a look at our current progress, we have our building here that got added in the last episode, and we're gonna start pretty much the same. We're gonna take an image and drag and drop it and add it to some sort of enum. And the image we're going to use is this one. Here we have 6 different types of floors, and we're just gonna drag and drop this image into our res folder. And of course, all the resources can be found on GitHub as soon as this episode goes live. Go down here to our drawable folder, right there, and then just drag and drop, floor side, drawable, yes. Then we can go up to our enum here, we should have one, and that one is called floor. And in here we can just add another one, add a comma, copy that entire line, and we're gonna call this inside, and let's see how many tiles there are. So we have the same size in width, but our height is only 17 in height. And we need to remember to change this into floor inside, and that is pretty much all we need to do in order to get the new tile set into the game. And our next task is to change the tiles that we see here to the new ones with a new tile array. In our map manager here, we have this big array that contains information about what tile should be at that position. So I'm gonna make it simple. We are going to create another array here, and we're also gonna create 2 more game maps here, just to keep the information from the current map now into a map for the outside, and then a map for the inside. So current map is the one that's gonna be changed back and forth by different types of maps. So we have one for outside map, and we will have one for inside map. Just for now, we're gonna store them here and load them like this. So the outside map is this. So all we have to do is to say outside map equals new game map. We can just actually copy paste this. And current map is the one that we're actually drawing. So we're just gonna say current map is equal to outside map. So if I run this, we're not gonna see anything different. It's gonna run the same. So right here is the information about the outside map. Let's create an array here for inside. So we're gonna copy that. Is equal to that. And we have no information in here. But before we add the other one, we need to change here. So outside array is set to that, and then inside array is like so. Perfect. And I have already prepared an array that will match what we need. So I'm just gonna take it and I'm gonna paste it over here. So inside array equals that. And these values is going to be picking the tiles in here. I added a overlay to make it easier to see. So what did we have first? We had 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. So 0, 1, 1, 1, and then 2. So we're gonna pick these 9 tiles to display our inside. And now with that inside array done, we're gonna create a inside map equals new game map, and we're gonna paste in inside array, save it like so. Go up here where we have our draw for our tiles. Here we specifically say outside. We're gonna change this in a bit so that the map, game map, decides what type of floor is going to be drawn. But we can just change it to inside. And instead of current map being outside map, current map is inside map. And let's run this. And there we go. There we have our inside map. It's in the corner. The house is blocking it. We're gonna fix that. But now we have 2 different types of floors in the game, and they're working. The fact that we have to go up here and change the floor dot outside and inside, and let's say we have 10, 15, 20 different tile atlases. It's not going to work like that. This is bad. So what we're going to do is to go into our game map here and change it so that when we create a game map, we also tell the game map what type of floor it's going to need. So first we will just add to this constructor a floor type, and we can add this value, if you will, private floor type, and we will say this dot floor type equals floor type, and of course we need a getter for it, so get floor type, and I think that's good for now. Let's go to our map manager. We're gonna have some errors here, and we need to say that this inside map requires the floor dot inside, and this outside map requires the floor dot outside. And into our draw here, we're not gonna say floor dot inside. We're gonna ask for current map dot get floor type dot get sprite, and everything else is the same. So now we're going to get the floor by asking the current map, which we set down here. So right now we have current map inside map. Let's run it. And it worked just as well. What if we say current map is equal to outside map, save, rerun, and try it again. And now we have the outside map. It's that simple. So that's great. But this building, as you noted, is not connected to the game map in any way, and it's just gonna appear no matter what game map we want or game map we have. And that's not what we want. We want the game map to contain all the information for that game map. Buildings, objects, trees, water, enemies, and so on. But we're gonna focus on the actual building now. And the last episode we did add this building manager, but we're gonna put this one on a sleep schedule for now because we don't need the building manager right now. So we're gonna copy some code from the building manager and put it in the map manager. So if there is buildings in the current map, we're gonna draw it. If there is none, we're not gonna draw it. So first, I think we go into the game map and ask for a building array list. Just like we have in our building manager, we have a building array list and then we add to it. What we're going to do in the game map is pretty much the same as we do for our sprite IDs or our sprite array. And we just ask for a array list, and it's going to be of the building. Is it building or buildings? One is the enum, buildings is the enum, we can see the E there, and C is building. So it's a building, we're gonna call it building array list. Yeah, that's good enough. Importing that, private, and we're gonna create one of those up here. And this dot building array list equals building array list. Yeah, like so. And of course we need a getter, so get building array list. And I think that's all we need for our game map for now. Saving that, heading over to our map manager. And our building manager had the first array list, and we're gonna actually just copy this, go to our map manager, add it down here as a array list, come on, there we go, building array list, and we're adding a building. The same building as before, we're not changing that, we're just adding it right there. For inside, we don't want any buildings. We're inside, we're already in a building, we don't need any building array list. This is going to change most likely how we add buildings into the game, but it's a step in the right direction at least. And for our outside, we're just going to add this building array list into the constructor. Beautiful. Now we just need to draw it, and we had a draw manager or a draw here. We're just gonna copy, don't mind if I do, and paste it in here. And now we have two different draws, so why don't we change this to draw buildings? We copy this, add it again, and we call this draw tiles. And in here, we remove all of this and draw tiles like that, draw buildings like so. And here is a error, so we're gonna say current map.getBuildingArrayList. But remember, inside didn't have any building array list. So if you try to draw a building that doesn't exist or from an array that doesn't exist, it's going to crash. So we will only do this if current map.getBuildingArrayList is not equal to null. That's the only reason we go down into this loop. What else? Yeah, we need to remove the building manager from our playing class or the code, but we're just gonna comment them out just so we see where they were and what they did. Building manager right there, another error for the draw. Are we still getting the camera? Because the update here we set the camera. We got the camera, and then we draw it. Our map manager, draw buildings, we still have the camera. So yeah, I think it's going to work. Let's start with the outside map, because that's where the building was from the start or from the beginning. So let's see. Hopefully we don't get any errors. All right, it's still working just as before. We go in and set current map is equal to inside map. Run it again, and hopefully there will be no buildings in this map. And there isn't. Perfect. So our buildings now are connected to the actual map they are supposed to be in. I mean, we did add building manager in the last episode, but now we don't need it. We might need it later inside our map manager because the building is going to have functions themselves. So I don't think there's going to be a waste of code, but things like this happens. It's just part of the process. But yeah, now we have an inside and an outside. One issue I have not discussed yet or even mentioned, but you can probably see it, is that I can't move around. The player does his animations just fine, but we're not moving. And the level or the map is up in the left corner, which is not ideal. The fact that the map is up there in the corner is because camera is 0 right now. Camera X and Y is 0, and since we are out in the void, we're not allowing the player to move. I think that's in our playing. Let's see. Here we go. Update player move. And at the bottom here we have a can move here. And that's in the map manager. If we we return false. But we are outside the bounds for our, well, max width and max height of the level. Because this is the max width and that's the max height, and we are clearly out of it. So there is many ways we can do this, but the simplest way to solve it is by going in our playing class and setting default values to our camera, so that when we spawn the level, the player spawns in the center of the building or center of the level map. And of course this position can later be pre-decided when we build our maps. Like we want the player to spawn in the doorway, for example. If there would be a door here, we don't want the player to spawn in the center, we want the player to spawn in the doorway, and so on. Let's start simple. So to get the player, because the player is always locked in the center, to have the level or map around him, we're gonna have to move this or add value to camera. And if it's gonna be in the center of no matter how big the map is, we're gonna add half of the screen width and half of the screen height. That is gonna make us draw this map from the top left here, we're in the middle of the player, and then it's gonna be drawn to the right. So first up, let's just move this to the center of the screen. And why not go to our constructor in playing here somewhere? We can probably, does it matter how big? Yeah, there's the map manager. So here the levels are done. Then we can calc start camera values. I'm gonna create that method. Camera X is equal to, so game width divided by 2. And it's asking us for import, yes. And then camera Y is equal game height divided by 2. Let's see the difference. So we had it up in the top left corner. Now we have it in the center, but we haven't taken into account the size of the actual map. So we're gonna move it backwards, minus map manager, no, not like that. Map manager get current map. That's correct. That, oh, we have it already here. So get max width, current map, that's my bad. So that's actually true. So get max width, current map, divided by 2 for height, minus map manager, get, okay, he already knew for some reason. And I think that's width, height, height, width, height, height, yep. Let's see. This should work. But a lot of things should work. They don't always work. And we already also have Hitbox working. Kinda. Well, to the left it works. To the top it works. Remember the Hitbox is a little bit smaller, so if we display the actual Hitbox for the player, try the draw player, there's the Hitbox. Let's draw it. And let's see what's going on. So Hitbox, top left corner, top works, left works fine. How about downwards? That's not correct. There's some room there, there's some room there. But otherwise it's detecting the level or the map. I'm gonna keep saying level even though it's a map. How or what is stopping us from moving further? It's clearly stopping and detecting it somewhat, but not 100%. And I think I know. Update player move here. Int player width equals that, which is not true because our width is not the sprite width, it's the hitbox width. So we're gonna change this to player get hitbox width equals player get hitbox dot height. And we got some errors here because this is a float and we're saving it as an int. We can't draw a float position, but we can store it as a float and then just recast it to an int at the very last second. So we get a more accurate reading. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's see. So left still works because it's not using that, and up works just fine. To the right, oh my god, that looks great. That looks great. Perfect. We now have fully functioning collision detection in our game map. But what about our outside? Does it still work as before? Let's save it. Outside map is now the current map. And we're starting in the center instead of up here. Let's see. Running yes. Running there, yes. Let's see, down, yes, it works fine. What about to the right? Beautiful, just like what we want. And killing the skeletons works too. I mean, it's starting to look like a game almost. But yeah, that's some good progress for today. So, now we got two different tile sets. One for outside and one for inside. This opens up the door, literally speaking, to add doorways in the next episode. That will be very interesting to get working. I hope to see you there. The enemies, of course, are not working with the game map as we might want them to, but that will of course be fixed in an upcoming episode a little bit later. This is, however, some very good progress for today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care now and have a wonderful day. Cheers!